Hello, welcome to my replay. We're gonna do some water decal Christmas nails with some ombre and some rhinestones. They're gonna be very pretty. So stay tuned if you want to see how it's done. So I've started the nails. I did complete this one so that I could take the thumbnail photo, but we need to paint these other ones before we can even get started with decoration. So that's step number 1. Let's zoom in a little bit more. Let's see if we can't clear that up. I guess I can tell you what I'm using. So for the first one, I'm going to use this Kiara Sky. It is called Frosted Sugar. Kiara Sky does make their colors in regular polish, gel polish, and acrylic. So if you see one you like, you can still get it in a different medium. Hi! Welcome. Thank you so much for coming. Definitely just, pop in and out as you like. We're just going to be here doing some nail art, but we're starting with the painting. Got us some water decals picked out, and I'm going to show you how to do them. But first we got to get some background colors put down. I will be doing 2 coats of the polish, and then there's gonna be some fancy stuff. Wish I could paint in the lines. I think maybe one day I will learn how to do that. Good morning, Delvin. How are you today? Got lots of fun stuff planned for this fine Saturday. I've got this planned. If y'all didn't see my little photos and stuff, look at these. They're the cutest things ever. I am obsessed. I'm going to try and make them last through the weekend. God only knows if they will. And then I'm gonna do this one. It is from Mystic. I just recently got it. It's called Cabin Cabin, and it's like this purple, pinky, orangey, hollow shimmer. It's just beautiful. So we're gonna put on a couple nails of this one. That is just so pretty. In the screen, everything, is lighter. It's very bright. I can't make my camera be dark. I don't know. But in reality, I don't have a whole lot of lights turned on, so it appears as a darker shade to me, which will become more apparent, I suppose, in the photos after. And then for the thumb, we're going to start out with my favorite Orly nude shade, Nourishing Nude, because we're going to do a French. Good morning, Letitia. Thank you for coming in, hanging out with us. We're just doing some pastel-y, water decal-y Christmas nails, but first we're getting down our base colors that we're going to paint on top of. So I'm going to do a French on this thumb. I'm going to do a little bit of ombre, and we're going to do these water decals. There we go. Definitely going to have to do multiple layers of this one because my peel off base coat, you can kind of see it separating in this corner. That's why it's a lighter color. That's because I put it on last night and I didn't put anything on it to stabilize it. I have to file the edge of this because there's like a rough spot, but that's okay. Let's get started with our second coat of paint. I like this white. It's hard for you to tell, but it's like, it's got these super subtle glitters. I don't know if they're hollow or just assorted color. I think they're hollow, but they're so faint. So you really only see them sparkle when the light hits them just right. I wonder if I can... I don't think I can make them visible. Well, we try. Alright, let's put some more of this purple one on. Now, while I am using regular nail polish, like all of this can be done with gel. I just prefer regular nail polish. So pretty. I can see them. Owl in Cardinal, I see you. Hi, y'all wave. I hope you enjoy it. Live streams are fun because you get to do a little chat. Now there is a delay. So from the time I say or do something, it may be a few seconds before you see it actually happen, and vice versa. I did turn it on ultra low latency to try and help with that speed. So when you say something in the chat, it'll take a few seconds before it actually shows up. And I believe I see it in the written chat before you see it in the screen where it pops over. So just bear in mind if you don't see an immediate response, or if it seems like the conversation's slightly off from what's happening, it's the delay. It's just kind of how live streams work. But I can absolutely see you. I'm glad you've come. I didn't used to do a lot of live streams, but since joining this group, I've been doing them more because I was painting my nails anyway. I just was doing it by myself. And so it's come to my attention that people actually like coming to this stuff. I was not super sure about that because it seems like there's a lot of downtime, so it can get kind of boring. And then all of this footage does get recorded, and the intention is that I will cut it down into highlights videos. I just don't know when because I'm super busy with all of my outside projects, which is another reason why live streams have become more useful and helpful to me. It is a way for me to still create without having to spend as much time on the editing, though I do still have a full calendar of videos. In fact, there's a video that will have posted today at like 11, so it's already out. Yes, the delay, it confuses people. Technology is crazy. My hand is in the air dryer though. I don't know if you can hear it. I like to speed up my drying with this warm air dryer. Plus it feels really nice on the hands, especially in this cold winter weather. I'm going to do a lot of layers of nail polish, so it is important to dry them as much as possible in between those layers so that you're less likely to mess them up. Tech is crazy. You know. Stuff be doing stuff. Alright. So we've got our colors. Let's see. We got our colors down. I'm going to sèche vive all of these in so that we can move on to the next step. I use a lot of top coat because it provides a protective layer so that I'm less likely to ruin what I've already done as I move on to the next steps. This is something that is different with regular polish versus gel. So because gel is cured and set, you don't have to put all these top coat layers in between to protect it because it's already protectable. You can already wipe it off. But with regular polish, it is still sensitive. And so you want to do everything you can to keep from ruining it as you move along, especially if you have to try and fix something. Small mistakes can sometimes be fixed. Big mistakes mean starting over. But I like regular nail polish because it dries so thin. So even though I do a gazillion layers, they don't get outrageously thick most of the time. Now, when we're encapsulating glitter, that can be a different story. If you've seen some of the glittery nails I posted here recently, they were a bit of a thick boy, but that's because I had to encapsulate. Which, you know, that gets thick no matter what you do. We're drying this layer of top coat. And then I'm going to use the buffer to fix that little edge before we paint more. I'm not super good at Frenches, but we're going to try and be good at it today. The one I need for sure. Gotta find the one that is long. It's this one. Oh, got it. All right. Yeah. One thing about this dryer is because it dries the outside so much faster than the inside, sometimes it makes it want to try and shrivel, a shrinkage problem. But I think it'll be fine. Weirdly enough, if you just hot breath on them, it causes them to loosen up a little bit. But it's still wet. Like when I push it around, I can see it moving the wrinkles. So I'm going to try and stay away from this one, at least for now. This one, we're just going to decorate next. So this one and this one are the ones that we're about to work on. I've got this sponge. And then the white that we're using. And we're going to do a little bit of a boomer ombre on this one. And a little bit of an aura on that one. So, here's how we're going to do it. This is air dry polish. I am an air dry girly. Let's scoot that out the way. Try and stay in the camera. I'm going to move where my view is, so hopefully that will help. Yeah? Okay. So, I just take this and put us a little blob here in the center. That's a big old blob. Gotta let some of that absorb. And then for our aura one, I'm gonna start with that one because this is kind of round. I'm just gonna try and center and then just do a dab, dab, dab. So it kind of does that. And then I'm going to do a little more. And then I'll have to let it dry a little bit between doing those because it'll start to peel it up if you do too much of that. It's a air dry nail dryer. I got it from Amazon. I can get you a link for it. If you send me a message on Instagram or on the Discord, then I'll be able to put the link in there for you. I can't get it right now, or I would. But yeah, it is fantastically helpful for me because it speeds up drying time. This method also, because it absorbs the liquid out of the nail, it makes it to where the glitter is more obvious. But we're gonna do a little back and forth as we kind of move up on that one. That's how we get that ombre effect. Yeah, so we've started, but they need to dry a minute. So I will stick them in here before we do a second tap, 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 tap coat. I like to do about 60 seconds. Whether you need a whole 60 or not can vary depending on how thick the paint is. Like, I probably don't, but in my mind, I feel like it helps. So that's the amount of time I typically like to do. If I'm just setting something in place like a magnetic, I may only do 30 seconds. All right, so let's do our next little coat now that we've got that. Turn that around and just try and boop, 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 boop. So that's what we've got for that one. And then we need a little more for our boomer. I think that looks good. Yeah. So I'm going to set that down. Now, the more opaque you want it to be, the more you'll need to do. I might do some more layers on this one a little bit down here because I kind of want it to get pretty white across the bottom, but this one I want to go ahead and start the top coat, and I'm going to go directly in with it because this is going to help it blend. Thank you. Glad you're liking it so far. Let me do that and then So you can see these edges are a bit rough, but top coat works because it melts your polish a little bit. So when you go on top of something blended with it, it helps to kind of make it more blurry. You can see those sparkles though. I'm liking that. That looks good. Let me set that over there. This one feels like it's dried some. I think we're gonna try and go in and get our French on. I need that white again because that's the color we're doing. So I'm going to put some of this out on a palette to the side because that's where I'm going to dip my brush. Now, let's try and make a good looking French. We gonna try. I am not super great at this. Okay. And then I use the, brush to get these corner bits, but we can fill in the end with the bottle brush, which is great. It just can't reach up into those little areas. Once again, I cannot, for the life of me, color in the lines. But I think it looks pretty even. So that's good. Let's do this. Probably gonna have to do two coats because it's a bit patchy, because where I drew the smile line was drying first, so then when I put the rest of it on there, it's not super seamless. And then we want to wipe off all of our excess because that causes fat nails and wrinkling. Sorry for all that noise. So yeah, we're just gonna let that dry a minute and then I'll go over the nail again. I think that's pretty good. It's not bad at all. While we're waiting though, let's do some more boopity boop ombre. On this one. Yes, because I really would like it to get pretty white at the end, but it does pick up a lot of that liquid with and leave the glitter. That's okay. I'm just kind of thinking like if it were snow at the very bottom. I am also a stamper girly. we're going to be using stampers for our decals. I've prepared a couple of them. So like put them on there and paint the back side white so that they are opaque. I've got a couple of them, but I'm going to actually prepare one of them for you. Let's see about putting our layer of this on. There we go. I think that's pretty good. Let me close that. I'm going to stick this in the dryer. These jelly stampers are really handy for all kinds of nail art. And in that same vein, you need a lot of aqua topper for all kinds of nail art with regular nail polish. Uh-oh. Looks like we're having some data unevenness. Says the stream is being weird. No bueno, guys. No bueno. I am going to top coat in our ombre that we did, and I am going to aqua topper our French because I want to try and keep that line as crisp as we can. This one we want to be blendy. You see, just makes it so smooth looking. This thing is crusty all around the neck, so it's hard to close. And this is our aqua topper. It's just from Maniology. This way, when we top coat that French in, we don't lose our crispness. I do gotta clean it up around the edges though, because I've just painted everywhere. There we go. I'm gonna stick that in the dryer. There's a lot of dryer when you're doing small steps. Pardon. These are the type of things I would cut out for the highlights because it's just downtime. It helps when there are viewers. That way you have somebody to talk to during these downtimes. See if we can't put this brush away. Okay. Now I got a sèche vive, which I'll just do real quick so I can put that one back in the dryer, and then we'll be ready for art. Painted all over my thumb. Who else paints all over their fingers? Okay, back in there. Give that a moment. Ha! The overlay just now put all the chat on there. Hey, Chetta. Welcome. Thanks for coming. We're just doing a little Christmas nail art. My hand's in the nail dryer. We're just now getting to the art stage, though. We've got the paints put down. There we go. Let me show you what we got. Helps if I turn it over. So we've got this white nail. I'm going to put some rhinestones on here. We're going to make snowflakes. We've got this ombre. We've got this aura ombre. And we've got this French. You were just watching it? Yeah, that one took quite a while, but girl, they're so pretty. So pretty. $3D nail art. Which nail art are we talking about? So like all this stuff is rhinestones. And I use this. 4 rhinestones only from China Glaze. It's air dry. So you just put a little bit on, you put your stones in there, and as you work, you add more, and it's drying as you go, so your stones aren't sliding everywhere. And it just holds it on there really well. That's what I used. And then the rest of it's just air dry paint. You can do a lot of stuff. Okay. Let's get to decorating. First, let's prepare a water decal. We have this. I need a paper towel so I can see. They're rhinestones. Yeah. That's why they're sparkly. Yeah, if you want to build something 3D, you're going to need a gel. But you can adhere things. See? Billions. Welcome, Susie. Thanks for joining. Here's what we have. Let me get it. Get on here. If I can pick it up. So this is the water decal we're about to stick on here. All of these water decals that we're using today is actually from Nail Sugar UK. She makes some really, really cute water decals. I have a ton. So you just put it face down. And then don't use acetone. That'll mess it up. Get some water on a brush and just wet the crap out of the back. And then you let that sit for a minute. Pins? You mean like for picking them up? Rhinestone pickers? Or you mean you put rhinestones on like writing pins? Once this sits a minute, it gets loose and you'll be able to slide the paper off. Now, you can use your finger to just kind of tap this to get the excess water up, because you do need the excess water off of there so your paint don't slide. Writing pins, okay, yeah, I gotcha. So as you can see, this is invisible. If you put this over a dark color, you're not gonna be able to see it. That's why we paint the back of it white. I like to use stamping polish because it's super opaque. So I'm just gonna put some over here on my palette. I need to open a new white bottle because this one's getting real empty. Makes me fight for it. Give me some of that. There we go. And then just take you a little detail-y brush and just paint. Try and like stay in the lines. And don't brush real hard. Float it. Because as it is paint, you don't want to mess up the water decal. If you get to making too many strokes, it can start to melt the decal. And I do this over a white paper towel so I can kind of see what I'm doing. Now, this fella here, he does have these very thin arms. So we're gonna have to try and do some very thin lines, which I am not good at. But first, we'll just get him filled in so he can start drying. You can do this with gel also, but I'm an air dry painter. And stamping polish also dries super quickly, so that's helpful. All right, I'm going to clean my brush off because the paint kind of builds up on it. And then I'm going to try and get like a real thin amount so I can get it on these little arms. So I think that's okay. You flip it over and you can look at it. Now he's not invisible. Your fingers weren't working right today. Sometimes they don't. So I have already painted a tree and a wreath. I did do a couple of little random decors, but I'm not actually going to end up using them. They were with these little gifts. They're so cute. So I'm going to set him to the side while he dries. Let me put my tray that I had those sitting in away. And then I have sticky base coat. We need something to stick them in. This is the easy part. So I do not more than 2 nails at a time, but I'm gonna do 1 nail at a time because they're alternating. So I just put a thin coat of this on here and then wait about 30 seconds for it to get tacky. If you start to work on top of it too soon, your art can slide and ruin the nail. I wouldn't say taking the rhinestones off is harder than just taking the paint off. I use peel off base coat under all of my nails. So when I do take them off, they just come off in sheets. I was just looking to see if I had any sheets here with rhinestones on them. I don't. But yeah, I peel everything off. That way I can just repaint it easily. That helps. If you are wearing them long term, you're probably going to have to do more work to get them off. I'm going to be putting the tree on this one, and what I might actually do after is go in and like blob some of that white on to make it like pillowy snow. We gonna see. So I like to just tap the very edges to check its dryness. That way I'm not messing up the center if it's not dry enough. That could use a little more dry time. You want it to be just tacky, but not sticky, if you know what I mean. It's so cold in here, goodness gracious. It says it's 72. This weather is not for me. I'm a soft baby. There we go. Let's turn it around so we can see what we got going here. Okay. So then I'm going to try and just look at it and get it lined up where I want it. This nail is so big compared to this tree. So I'm going to put the tree down towards the bottom. And then roll it on there. There we go. That's pretty good. And then yeah, I think I am going to do like the pillowy snow down here. So I'm going to set that over here to the side. And then we'll put some of the sticky base coat on this one so we can get ready to put the snowman over here. I'm actually going to do the wreath on this one, which is why I did this French. I suppose I can put some base coat and get that started. Oop, I got too much. That long wand on there often comes out covered in paint, and I make a terrible mess of it. But I put a whole bunch of it, so that one's going to take a little bit longer to dry. Let me close this because I'm not going to need it again. Like this. I use this to stick everything on, whether it's a nail stamp or a water decal. Stick it on there. The only thing it's not good for is rhinestones and charms because it's not strong enough. Yes, let me get. That's getting good and tacky, but it needs a little more time. Look how crooked this nail is. Like you can see it's straight on this side and not at all on this side. That's because I can't put on my nail straight. But when I turn it around, it seems better. That's because my fingers are super crooked. I am not a nail tech. I am a nail enthusiast and obsessor. I just really like doing nails. I thought about becoming a nail tech, but nail tech school in my city is $8,000, and I don't do nails professionally, and it would not be economically sensible to try and make a career out of nail teching when I work in finance. So, alas, it will remain a hobby, but I am a nail creator, and that's the fun part, and hypothetically, money can be made doing that, but maybe. We'll see. Don't forget to caffeinate, y'all. Feed your bodies. Let's go ahead and get this guy put on. I think I might give him some pillowy snow at the bottom, too. Maybe. So roll him on there. Look how good that looks. If we hadn't have painted that in, you wouldn't be able to see it. Yes. All right, let's check and see if this is ready for our wreath. Yeah, I think that's okay. Turn that around. I'm trying really hard to get this straight. Whether it is or not is yet to be seen. I think it's okay. That looks cute, right? And then since we're not using these, I'm just going to clean them off on my lint roller. There's our little extras. Okay. Thank you. Now we're going to go over all of these water decals with Aqua Topper. Because if we go over them with top coat, they're going to crack as they dry. And we don't want that to happen. This will protect that from happening. Okay. Those need to be dried. Let me flip this around while we stick those in the dryer. Now, like hypothetically, during this time, you could move on to doing another nail, but I am notorious for banging my nails into each other. And so it really makes me angry when I mess up a nail that I've already finished because it wasn't dry and I'm trying to jump ahead. So we're just gonna give this a little dry time. Okay, now let's go ahead and throw some of our pillow paint here on the bottom. I'm just going to use the bottle brush just because it's across the bottom. Always having to change the height. So I'm just going to be like boop, 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 boop. Wipe off some of that excess. And then let's get a little bit down here for this guy. I'll use a buffer across the end of those to get them to be smoothish. But yeah, that looks like pillowy snow. Okay. Y'all ready to do some rhinestones? I'm gonna try not to mess up that snow, as I just got done talking trash about doing that. So these are the rhinestones that I got out. They are purpley, bluey So I feel like they go with the thing. So I'm going to take the lid off of this whole case. You gotta open. This is a risky move because if you knock this over, you're dumping rhinestones everywhere. But this makes it to where I can access them. I'll scoot them to the side. We need a picker, like we talked about earlier. And then put some of this out on your palette. And then I am going to get a small brush out for picking that up. Thank you. I love it. Yeah, because you really just don't know how everything's going to go until you see it happen. And it's cool. So let's do that. Put some of this over here. And just start with a bloop here. I'm going to turn this around because that'll be easier for me to see. And then pick a size you want to start with. I'm going to start with this one. Yeah. And then let's do there, there. Just got to work with it a little at a time. Put one here also. And then I'm just going to keep doing that. You kind of freestyle the way you want your stones to end up. Just make sure you put enough of a blob that your stone sits like entirely down inside of it. Got a poker on the other end for fine-tuning those positions. You don't have all day to do that because this is air dry, and so it is drying as we're going. So just bear that in mind. Get those on there relatively quickly. Oop. Am I still in the screen? Yeah, okay. And then I'm going to do I need some more. This stuff dries up as you go too. I'm going to do a bigger one here. I'm not left-handed, so this is a bit difficult. And then I'm going to put another small one after. Got the shakes too, because I need to eat. All right, now I'm gonna put in a little bit of dots here also because I don't want it to be too big of a gap. But I'm gonna make them not exactly touching. Oop. Just gouged what I got over there. Be careful. I wish I had more than 3 sizes in here. I really need to hurry up though. Oh no, your phone. You gotta charge that, you know. Welcome back though. Okay. All right, I think I'm going to leave that one like this because we can presume that these have gone off the edge. That's why we can't see them. But I'm going to put another snowflake down here at the bottom. Pardon me, I'm just snowflaking away. Should have put those a little. If you have more than just round stones, you can do more fun designs, but that's what I got. It's round ones. Pardon me, I haven't looked at the chat. I did hear it do something though. Yeah, they are challenging to apply. Sometimes I will like lay them out on a mat and just figure out my design before I get started. That helps. How do I do it with shaky hands? I brace myself, like my hands are sitting on the table here so that all I have to work with is my fingers. I'm going to put some in here too though, as we did with the others. Give me a rhinestone. Alright, that's what we got. I think I might also put just a couple little loose ones there. I feel like that would be nice. Just like a little bloop and a bloop. Those two. What do you think? I think that's fun. You can always put it on top of painted lines too and just use the stones for the knobs. I think this is looking really good. I was thinking about whether I needed to put something up here, and I think no. I think I should leave it because I do like it. That's looking good. Let me close this stuff up real quick. Cleaning the rhinestone adhesive off this brush with acetone. I have to replace my brushes a lot because acetone does ruin them with time. And let me close this before I end up smacking it and getting it dumped everywhere. Okay. Now, what I do for these to make sure they stay really well is I take a little bit more of the 4 rhinestones only. I just stuck my hand in that dryer and turned it on. That was not intended. But basically, I just kind of go in between them and reinforce because sometimes I don't get them really well covered. And this just helps them stay better. It's okay if you go over them a little bit because this is going to dry. Gotta get some more out. Shut up, Delvin. How could you talk about me like that? I don't know when that's happening. It does happen sometimes. Okay. So that'll be drying. And now we've already done the aqua topper and stuff on these, so we can just go ahead and get them final top coated. If y'all watch my live stream from last night where I was doing that other hand, my head was constantly in the way, and it was hilarious to me. Had me laughing. Look at my dirty old finger. Got all that polish and stuff on it, but I can clean that off with acetone after the fact. Now, if you want, good Lord, you can matte top coat your decals and stuff after they're dry, and it can make them easier to photograph for sure. I don't know if I want to. They are very pretty shiny. But I'm going to put that in the dryer, so let me flip it up. So tell me, guys, of what you have seen today, did you learn anything new? Thank you, girl. I think they're so cute. Are any of the techniques that we did here helpful to any of the nail art you like to do? I hope so. You will soon forget. Well, I guess if you need to at some point be able to do rhinestone nails, you can always come back and rewatch. Though I feel like the chances of needing to do rhinestone nails is very slim for you, as you do not do nails. You guys, Delvin is not a nail girly. Delvin's a nail supporter. Yes. That's one reason I don't like to put them on with gel, is because they slide around until you cure it. But with this, they're drying as you're working, so you don't have to worry about them sliding away. You just have to work quickly. So planning your design out ahead of time can certainly help. All right. Let's have a look-see. Here is how we have finished. I like it. They're very sparkly. And then the background of this is a shimmer, which I think it's giving like a dusky, like the sun's going down, but we're in the winter, the Arctic type situation. And the fluffy snow, I think, looks good. We've got our little presents over here. I think it's cute, guys. Definitely glad I was able to provide some helpful information. Let's look at this one, if I can hold my hand in a way that makes sense. That one looks good too. I think we did a pretty decent job on the French. And the wreath is situated nicely. I'm definitely going to get photos, which you'll be able to see everything much better in those. But I think these are good. Quick and easy. Quick. We've been here for over an hour. And one was already done. But either way, you know, if you weren't doing the rhinestone, that would really fast everything up. But thanks for coming, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me while I did these nails. Now I can get them photographed and whatnot and get on with the rest of this frosty winter day. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.